We're going to talk about something that may cut deep, but you need to hear it. You've been misled your entire life. They've taught you that what you feel is love, when in truth it's fear. Fear of being alone, fear of not being enough, fear of not being chosen, fear of losing the one who gives you a sense of worth. But let's be honest, what would happen if that person disappeared tomorrow? Would you still feel whole, or would you collapse like a fragile structure that only stood because someone else was holding it up? That knot in your stomach, that trembling in your hands when a reply doesn't arrive, those sleepless nights spent checking their last connection over and over, that isn't love. It's anxiety in disguise. It's attachment. It's dependency. The cruel part is you mistake it for love because no one ever taught you how to love without needing. Jung said it best. When two personalities meet, it's like two chemicals reacting. If there's a spark, both are transformed. But you are not transforming. You are dissolving. You're reshaping yourself in someone else's image, just so they won't leave. You are betraying your own soul because you believe that without them, you are nothing. And here is the bitter truth you don't want to hear. What you feel isn't love, it's addiction. You are hooked on the other the way someone clings to a drug, because they soothe a wound you don't know how to face, because they fill a void you haven't dared to confront. That voice inside whispering, without them, I'm nothing. That isn't truth, it's illusion. Attachment is the lie that survival depends on someone else. But if you face the emptiness with courage, absence becomes your greatest teacher. Attachment is fear. Love is freedom. Attachment chains you. Love makes you grow. And until you see that difference, you'll keep mistaking cages for embraces. You'll keep believing love means holding, possessing, securing. But real love doesn't need chains or eternal vows or guarantees. Jung understood this well. People project their wounds outward, seeking in others what they lack inside. That is why attachment is so common. We walk with open wounds and try to stitch them with someone else's skin. We become emotional vampires, feeding on another's presence so we don't have to face our own emptiness. But there comes a breaking point. The moment you realize the love you clung to isn't saving you, it's drowning you. That's where detachment begins. Not as cold indifference, not as an emotional shutdown, but as an act of profound self-love. To detach doesn't mean to stop loving. It means loving without chains. It means releasing the fear of loss. It means understanding that real love doesn't demand sacrifices that mutilate your essence. Real love helps you grow into more of yourself, not less. Detachment is an inner revolution. It's telling fear, you no longer rule me. It's looking into the void and not trembling. It's knowing you don't need anyone to complete you, because you already are complete, even if you haven't fully realized it yet. Yes, it hurts. Letting go always hurts. It feels like tearing out part of your soul because you lived so long convinced you couldn't walk alone. But believe me, you can. And when you do, everything changes. Not because the world is different, but because you no longer look at it from lack, but from fullness. Detachment doesn't close the heart, it opens it. It teaches you to say, I love you, but I don't need you to be whole. That, though it sounds paradoxical, is the highest act of love. Jung spoke of individuation, the path of self-discovery, where you integrate, where you meet yourself, where you become whole. From there, you can connect without dissolving, share without clinging, love without depending. Because now you're no longer broken. You're no longer begging to be completed. You're choosing to share your wholeness, not your wounds. But it takes courage. Attachment is comfortable, even if it hurts. It's familiar. Detachment, on the other hand, feels like jumping into the abyss. It forces you to face your shadows, to sit with yourself. And many retreat there because they'd rather endure the prison they know than step into the terrifying emptiness of freedom. But what lies beyond the abyss? Peace. A peace that doesn't collapse with absence. A love that doesn't depend on another's presence because it rises from within and radiates outward. Then you realize letting go isn't losing. It's recovering. Recovering yourself, your essence, your strength. True love does not hurt, does not suffocate, does not demand you erase yourself to keep it alive. If it crushes you, if it steals your peace, if it makes you small, that is not love, it's attachment. And that bond, no matter how romantic it looks on the outside, is really just a beautiful prison. Do you want to truly love? Learn to be alone. Learn to embrace your solitude. Discover your shadows. Learn to hold yourself when everything falls apart. Don't depend on someone else's reflection to see yourself. Only then can you look someone in the eye and say, I choose you, but I don't need you. And that is powerful because most people don't love. They cling. They cling to others so they don't have to face themselves. They confuse suffering with love, intensity with depth, passion with dependence. But there is another path, harder but truer, the path of conscious detachment, the path of emotional freedom, the path that lets you love from abundance, not from lack. Look inside and ask, why does letting go hurt so much? What part of me believes it will die if the other leaves? What void am I trying to fill? That is where the root lies. And when you pull it out, not with hate, but with compassion, you begin the truest form of love. Love is not possession, but free presence. Not chains, but dance. If you need force, control, or obsession to hold it, it's not love, it's fear. And fear never builds, it only destroys. So let go. Let go with dignity, with love, with awareness. Let go knowing that letting go isn't losing, it's choosing yourself. Because when you choose yourself, the world shifts. You stop begging for crumbs. You stop clinging to people who cannot carry you. You stop losing yourself in others because now you have yourself, and that is power. Detachment is not coldness, it's emotional maturity. It's the wisdom of knowing that anything that comes may also go and still being at peace. It's knowing true safety isn't in the other, it's in you. And from that inner safety, you can love without fear, give without bargaining, and share without losing yourself. That is the raw truth. As long as you call your dependency love, you'll stay trapped in suffering, repeating patterns that destroy you. It's time to awaken, to face attachment eye to eye, and say, I don't need you anymore. It's time to walk toward real love, the love that doesn't bind, doesn't suffocate, doesn't consume, but liberates, supports, and builds. And that love begins not with another, but with you. Because once you're at peace with yourself, everything else falls into place. But let me tell you an uncomfortable truth. Attachment doesn't just distort your idea of love. It also distorts who you are. When you cling, you unconsciously twist yourself to meet the other's expectations. You stop being yourself and start being what you think they want. You edit yourself, and tragically, many times they never even asked for it. You did it out of fear, out of the terror of abandonment. That is where Jung's concept of the shadow comes in, the repressed part of you, the side you hide, but which still controls you. Attachment makes you build relationships from behind a mask. You show the parts you think are acceptable and bury your authenticity. And though it keeps you connected, it kills you inside. Dependency not only ties you to them, it disconnects you from yourself. You forget your limits. You silence your intuition. You live on their terms. If they're fine, you're fine. If they withdraw, you collapse. You stop being a person and become an echo. And what happens when you're just an echo? You empty yourself. You live in chronic anxiety masked as love. Every silence feels like a threat, every reaction a verdict, because your stability depends on them, not you. That is dangerous because no one can carry your inner world for you. This is what Jung meant when he said, what remains unconscious shows up in your life as destiny. You repeat the same story in different relationships, always sacrificing, always fearing, always mistaking need for love. And often you add another layer, idealization. You put the other on a pedestal. You don't see them, you see your projection. And the higher you place them, the smaller you become. Love requires equality. When you shrink, it stops being love and becomes servitude. So what is the way out? Going inward. toward the solitude you've been avoiding. Because if you cannot stand with yourself, you'll keep searching for someone else to do it for you and demanding it of them. Not because you're bad, but because you're wounded. You're using love as a bandage when what you need is healing. Jung spoke of the inner feminine and masculine energies we all carry. When unintegrated, we search outside for what we lack within, and we cling. But when we integrate, when we recognize our own completeness, something shifts. Then you connect from desire, not need, from choice, not fear, from awareness, not emptiness. Love ceases to be urgency and becomes expansion. You no longer demand to be saved. You want to walk together. You no longer hold. You share. You no longer beg. You give. Because now you love from fullness, not hunger. But to get there, you must cross the desert of detachment, a barren, silent place where the only voice you hear is your own. And in that silence, you'll be tempted to go back, even to what hurt you, because your mind craves the familiar. But if you hold on, every time you choose peace over chaos, you rewrite your story. And though you'll lose people, you'll recover yourself. Detachment is not indifference. It's sacred. It's not resignation. It's choice. It's saying, I love you, but not at the cost of myself. And when you live this, something beautiful happens. Your energy changes. You attract people who don't want to complete you, but to walk beside you, who don't drain you, but empower you. Of course, some will leave. Some cannot handle your freedom. They're used to being someone's oxygen, and when they see you breathe alone, they feel useless. But that's not your burden. Your only responsibility is yourself. That is the path of transformation. When you stop begging for love and start becoming love itself. When you stop seeking arms to hold you because you learn to embrace yourself. When silence ceases to be punishment and becomes a temple. When you discover your value was never in another's eyes, but in your own. Yes, you will relapse. You'll miss what hurt you. You'll long for the familiar. But each time you choose peace over chaos, you gain strength. That is power. That is love. That is freedom. Do you want real love? Stop asking to be completed. Complete yourself, and then share. Because real love doesn't need chains, only wings. To fly together or apart, but always free. Because here's the truth. The love of your life is not another person. It never was. The love of your life is you, your growth, your consciousness, your path. What you call loss is often life ripping away what no longer belongs, what keeps you from becoming. Yes, detachment burns, but it leaves clarity behind. Clarity to see that being alone isn't emptiness, it's sanctuary. Solitude becomes sacred once you heal the wound that made it painful, and then you no longer beg for love. You no longer chase. You no longer settle, because you finally realize that nothing is more valuable than your peace. Real love is not the dramatic highs and lows that drain you. Real love is calm, steady, expansive. What hurts is not love. It's attachment, fantasy, illusion. So I leave you with this. Are you going to continue calling your chains love? Or are you going to step into freedom? The bridge is within you. The choice begins the moment you stop asking others for what you haven't given yourself. And if these words pierced you, hold on to this mantra. I choose peace over fear. Write it, repeat it, remember it. Because from today forward, you cannot unsee the truth. Once you know, there is no going back.